Welcome to Know It All, a place to connect with researchers to answer all questions on health, science, technology, business, culture, and more. This episode on What is Expressionism was created for you by Blair. In this topic, Know It All will answer: what are Expressionist paintings? What are some examples of Expressionist paintings? Who are famous Expressionist artists? What is Expressionism in architecture? What are some key elements of Expressionist architecture? Expressionist paintings are a type of art characterized by distorted or exaggerated forms, vivid colors, and energetic brushwork. Expressionism is an artistic movement that flourished in Europe during the early 20th century as part of the larger modernist period. The term Expressionism was first applied to painting around 1911 when Wassily Kandinsky wrote Über das Geheim des Materialsprech der Malerei on painting in material language. It described artists who sought to express emotion through their art rather than simply recreating reality realistically on canvas, sometimes with fantastical imagery, often making use of jarring color combinations and dynamic compositions. Though Expressionists may have worked within any number of stylistic modes, from Impressionism to Fauvism, Cubism to abstraction, their works were all informed by emotional content usually derived from personal experiences. Some well-known examples include The Cry, 1912-13, by Edvard Munch, Dietrich's Ernst Ludwig Kirchner street scene series, such as Street Berlin for example, Oskar Kokoschka's Self-Portrait with Lovers, and Max Beckmann's night scenes such as Nightmare 1 and 2. All these pictures capture something deeply felt about human life without depicting it directly, relying instead upon shapes created out of organic feeling alone, be they representational objects seen from unusual angles, blurred figures emerging from primal depths, etc. This approach gave rise to striking images which resonated strongly both emotionally and psychologically, giving viewers some insight into what troubled modern people at this time, such as anxiety over technology leading towards World War I and alienation experienced due to increasing industrialization. In short, Expressionism isn't just another style but stands apart because its practitioners used intense emotions coupled with vibrant visual effects to depict inner essences more so than outward appearances, thus allowing us unique accesses into thoughts, feelings, values, and ideas while also creating highly original and engaging artwork. Some famous Expressionists include Wassily Kandinsky, Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, Erich Heckel, Emil Nolde, Franz Marc, and Gabriele Munter, to name a few. Wassily Kandinsky is often considered one of the most influential pioneers of abstract art, who developed his own form which he called non-objective painting, departing from any visual reference point entirely and expressing pure emotion instead, applying elements like shapes and colors with no constrained meaning behind them whatsoever except what we infer ourselves when looking at his compositions. His work remains highly valued today, both aesthetically speaking but also as an inspiration to generations of painters. Expressionist architecture is a type of architecture that developed in Europe during the early 20th century. The movement was born out of an attempt to bridge visual art, philosophy, and architecture in order to create buildings with emotional resonance for their occupants. Expressionist architects sought to break away from traditional forms and embrace more abstract shapes and symbols within their designs as they attempted to express emotions through form rather than function alone. The Expressionists rejected the idea that architects should strive towards classical proportionality or symmetry when designing structures. Instead, they embraced asymmetrical compositions which were often based on biomorphic forms inspired by nature such as plants, trees, or animals. This rejection has been seen again later in postmodernism movements like deconstructivism, where Frank Gehry's buildings contain organic curved lines contrasted against harsh angular planes. Other key elements used include twisted silhouettes including spiral staircases, as can be found at Villa Stuck, fragmented facades using contrasting materials, exposed brickwork alongside glass panels, undulating roofs creating irregular spaces inside interiors, plus expansive windows allowing extra light into rooms, opening up space while also framing views outdoors. Furthermore, color played an important role, being used both outside and indoors, adding further characterization depending on owner preference. Blue faded pastel hues were used to depict serenity, whereas brighter tones signify energy. In terms of its influence, many iconic European landmarks have incorporated some aspects of expressionistic design. Whether it is intentional or unintentional, these attributes remain emblematic even today. Notable examples include Le Corbusier Marine Pavilion in Barcelona and the Fagus work in Germany. These buildings establish a visible connection between contemporary modern style combined with high emotion, resulting in unique creations that enhance public life across cities worldwide, demonstrating how powerful something so simple yet effective can become when put together correctly. Thank you for listening. For more answers to questions on health, science, technology, business, culture, and more, don't forget to subscribe to Know It All.